People's Platform.
Good evening and welcome to the People's Platform. From breaking stereotypes to owning his truth in the public eye, my guest tonight has become one of Sri Lanka's most beloved voices. Today we meet him as he opens up about his life in his newly released autobiography, Jaffna Boy, Colombo Diva. Danu Innasithamby, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sonali, for having me.
Danu, writing an autobiography is a deeply vulnerable act. It's also deeply intimate, and oftentimes we as human beings get by life with a facade of sorts. Did you at any point of time feel like your truth might cost you?
I think throughout my life, I've always had a very transparent outlook to life. I've never pretended to be something that I'm not. Good or bad, I've always sort of owned up to it because it was quite easy that way. And at the same time, I never thought of this book as an autobiography when I was starting it, and I think I don't feel it still. I just wanted to write these stories that have happened in my life, which sort of either incorporate other people or my family members or myself. And I always like to see the fun side to everything. The most darker stories, I'll find something to laugh about. And that was the reason I just started penning it down. It was quite interesting. Every time I told a story to someone, they'd be like, oh my God, you should so write this. So then it sort of just became a book.
You always put on this very jovial face. We see you with the glitz and the glamour, and this perfectly curated persona, Danu. Do you think you use humor as a trauma response?
I've actually thought about it because that when we were growing up, I think, Sonali, we didn't have the labels now, like we never understood we need to go in for counseling. And I think if this country needs to go in for counseling, I think everyone will be
benefited
and counseled.
Yeah.
Because I think as a country, as a nation, especially the youth have gone through such traumatic experience. It could be the war, the tsunami, the bomb. We have just had a ripple effect of issues. But I think I found a coping mechanism in just laughing about it, having a conversation. Yes, there are days that in my own I have broken regarding certain stories or something that sort of took me back to my years before, and I'm like, oh, this happened. But I have found a way to deal with it in a fun way because it also comes with the job I do. I took the path of entertainment because I knew that I'll be happier making another person smile. It was always a thing that I wanted to do. And at the same time, when somebody tunes it or when somebody sees you on stage or wherever, they are also coming with their share of sadness, burden, all of that. You don't want to sadden them more. So that's what I have thought. And I think, I do use humor as a form of survival mechanism.
Danu, let's talk a bit about identity and the complexities and nuances attached to identity. Society hasn't always been kind to you. You've mentioned several instances in your book. What was this journey like? This journey of self-compassion and understanding your own self, notwithstanding a society that was harsh?
Identifying anyone or yourself takes a lot of time. Society is quick to give you a label or a name, in your behavior, the way you carry yourself, mannerisms, whatever you do, it's quickly identified and, oh, this is him, or this is her. And it's easy. But within yourself, you're battling so many emotions. Number one, you don't know what you are because socially you are expected to be something, but physically or emotionally you're not trying to get to that place. That process is really hard. When I realized deep within who I was not afraid to share it with my family, that's my sister, because I thought to myself, the world could reject, but I still need a home that understood me. It was hard. It was a bitter pill for her to swallow because she was also young. We didn't have mommy or dada to sort of guide us through the process. But I thought I'd rather be true to myself than put on a persona that I need to maintain every single day for the rest of my life. And I would have failed at it. So I thought this was so much more easier. And then when name calling comes my way, it's the truth. When you look at a tree, you call it a tree. Even if you mean it like, oh, you're such a tree. Yes, I'm a tree. So I'm okay with it.
You will refer to yourself as a diva. Let's explore the conceptions that come with calling yourself a diva. You're comfortable now in who you are, but you weren't always this way. You went through internalized fat phobia, colorism, sizeism, racism. We are no strangers to the internalized fat phobia growing up in Sri Lanka. Speak to us about how you overcame this, because self-hatred is a real thing, and a lot of young people, young girls and boys go through it, endure this.
100%. We go to an all-boys school. Not everyone is wired to show empathy towards someone. I think I had a lot of it, maybe because I was brought up by two women, my mom and my sister. I was given a more softer side to how I will handle a situation. And you know, protruding chests for men is a common thing, and I think India goes through over 60 surgeries in a day. And when I was growing up, it was one of the biggest things for me. I just didn't know what was happening when we were going through this whole transition of, you know, when your voice was cracking and when your hormones were changing, and going to a school in a white shirt and being pointed out every day, oh, look at you, oh my God, what is that? It got to a point where it was incredibly painful, because you want to be the boy, the cool one who fitted in and who was always like, you know, hey, you couldn't be that. Even if you wanted to, somebody reminded you otherwise. And I think the day I've written this, because that was a day that really stays in my head, because up to date I remember the smell around me, the heat, what I was wearing, and how I was pushed onto the girl's side saying, oh, he's producing milk, and then, oh, he's producing red milk, when I was pinched, and when I saw the shades of blood. And that's the first day I saw how it's yellow, vermilion, orange, red, black. And I cried all the way home, and I just didn't go out, and I didn't want to like face the world. Today, if that happens to me, it's just a minor problem in this big spectrum called world. At that point, that was my life. My life was going to school, meeting my classmates, coming back home. That was my world, and that world I was embarrassed. And the echo of laughter, I don't blame anyone, because I feel like at that time they were just being young, and they were just being young. And I don't blame anyone, but that echo of laughter, I'll never forget. But it breaks you at times. But now, of course, I don't let size define me. This is who I am. I'll buy bigger clothes or smaller clothes. That's about it.
Danu, I'm asking you this next question because you have a platform where you are an opinion former, you are influential, of influence. Bullying is a massive problem in Sri Lanka, whether it be in schools, whether it be in universities, in the form of ragging. There are students who have been driven to the point of taking their own lives. And with this comes, at the other end of the spectrum, we find the bullies, the perpetrators, the sadists. As someone with a voice, how do you think we can address this problem? There are statutes, there are laws, there are regulations, there are frameworks in place. However, this continues to be a massive problem. So on the one hand, we have students, children, youth who are victimized as a result of bullying, ragging, sadism.
I actually feel sorry for both the spectrum, the one who is bullying and the one who is getting bullied, because I feel this bullying is a form of act they do either for attention, either to feel big about themselves. There is something that's lacking in their lives, and I've felt this. It may not be the case always, because I feel like sometimes when they see a weaker link, they always feel like, just get to it faster. But I feel like we need to sort of teach empathy to kids. The fact of not feeling sorry for them, but just putting yourself in their shoes for any situation. I feel at that point you will understand what is it to respect everyone. You can still joke around, have fun, laugh with people, but as long as the person who you are making fun of is also enjoying that moment with you. If not, it's just a very sadistic act. If that is taught, if that emotion is triggered from a young age, I think they'll understand, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you, I just said it as a joke. That will follow. If not, they'll be like, oh, just overreacting, please. If you say, that means you are just not willing to see what that person is going through. So it's just a bit of a situation of how you're brought up and what is your surrounding, and this whole factor of this society asking men to be men, don't show your affection, don't show your emotions. Even a man is human. A man who cries, a man who laughs, if all emotions are not portrayed by a person, there's something wrong.
Danu, let's talk about masculinity and the conceptions around masculinity. In today's world, we see the rise of the right wing, we see the rise of misogyny, online sexism. The Andrew Tates of the world are fast gaining momentum and popularity. Schools across the West have had to incorporate lessons on mutual respect. Toxic masculinity is so harmful, not just to the world at large, but to people who portray that. Speak to us about that.
This definition of what masculinity stands for. What is it? How do you define a man? Is it from the body organs? Is it from his exterior appearance? Is it the amount of hair he grows, or how built he is? I think all of that has been just put together in pictures, in movies, and it's always a man who saves the moment. It is not the case. In my household, my sister was the strongest figure. She was able to make the decisions faster. Like my mom and I were the softer ones. Like we took time about taking the decision, or we'll be pondering over a lot of things for a long time. Masculinity is just a term that society has given, and a lot of people want to prove being masculine always. You can go lift 300 kilos at the gym and you could behave like an absolute moron. That doesn't make you a man. It just makes you a very weak man with a sad amount of ego. I just feel a masculine person is somebody who respects where he is and who he is with and behaves that way. And I think that is what you call masculinity.
Danu, grief is a very visceral emotion which is very deeply felt. You lost your mother 15 years ago to cancer, but you've kept her memory alive through the years, through your work. Your writing debut is in fact dedicated to her. You largely credit your mother for who you are today. Honor her now. Speak to us about your relationship with her.
We always say moms are special. And each person's mom is always special to them. Why I have this immense love and respect for my mom up to date. Mommy was, if I could speak about her, she was a very soft-spoken. She loved to have a good time, never wanted big things in life, was very happy to be the wife to Dada and be our mom. She gave up her teaching career, although she was trained in it. She loved to have a good time. She listens to a baila song, she'll put a small dance, and she liked to make the best out of the smallest situations. That was her. And the mummy we saw till the 1st of March 93 and the mummy we saw from the 1st of March 93 were two different people. I think she got some guts that was just hidden. she put it to good use in taking those decisions of leaving Jaffna, taking that risky journey, bringing us here, taking those decisions to go to school. When you live alone, you tend to realize how smallest things can be really painstakingly annoying. When you have to budget your electricity bill, when you have to budget your water bill, your school rents, your education, kids who are depending on you, you have to also be of some security for them so that they have somebody to come home to. It's just, when I sit back and think, so many roles that she had to play in just one day, I always feel like that defines what a hero is like. And I remember I understood all these issues later, sitting and thinking back, oh my God, how would have she done this? I still remember me getting angry with her and not sleeping in the room. I slept in the hall because she couldn't give me $300 to go on a trip to Anuradhapura with school, on a school trip. And I remember she waking up early morning that day and saying, I'll give you, you go. And I said, no, I don't. Already everyone is there. I have cried about it way after. At that time, I was just angry that I didn't go. I was the only one who was missing out on it. But then I thought to myself, how hard would have it been for her to say no to me? Because I don't think she wanted me not to go. She wanted me to go, but she just couldn't afford to let me go. So when I think of that pain that she would have gone through, and she had nobody to tell that to. My sister was young, I was young. Who can she talk about this to? Those are the most painful moments that I think of her. And I'm like, I don't know how she did it. Because if it was me, I'd be like, just shut up. Like, we could react. But, she reacted in a very softer way. There was this one day I'll never forget. My mum really broke because we were asked to leave the house that we were renting. She didn't have a capital to pay for the other house, and it was just a very bad time. And she looked at my father's photograph that was hanging in the house and said, she actually just hit the wall, and she was like, why did you go so soon? And I think to myself, if I was in her shoes, I don't know whether I would have lasted this long. Even at her time of death, she wanted to make sure that we'll be settled. She wanted us not to waste any money. She was like, please keep it for the house. She even bargained her life for our comfort. So I think all mothers are very special. And I don't know, this statement, I always make it, I don't know whether it's right or wrong. I always say there could be a woman who is wrong, but there can never be a mother who is wrong, because sometimes mothers do strange things thinking that's the best for their child, even giving a child for adoption. I just feel sometimes they feel like, I don't have what it takes. I just feel that every mom does their best.
We are in conversation with Danu Innasithamby. We're going for a break. We'll be right back.
The People's Platform.
Test cricket.
It's not like other sports.
It's not even like other cricket. It's not just about power.
Or speed.
It's much more than that.
It's about skill, intelligence,
Endurance.
Courage. Some things take time.
evolving, building,
Developing.
It can change slowly or in an instant.
They say it's not for everyone.
but greatness rarely is.
Once again, the saviour. What a champion.
This is cricket at its purest.
The one. The pinnacle.
A battle of wills, of minds.
Of hearts.
The mace, the ultimate prize.
Lords, the ultimate venue.
This is the ICC World Test Championship Final.
My goodness! What a performance!
The ultimate test.
World Test Championship 2025 Final. Australia versus South Africa. Live on TV1 3 p.m. onwards.
Send us your application with your name, your unique talent, your phone number. To Sri Lanka's Got Talent PO Box 100 Ratmalana or WhatsApp us on 076 599 7788.
Test cricket.
ලෝකයක් බලා ඉන්න ලෝකයෝ හැපෙන ලෝක ටෙස්ට් ශූරතාවලිය
It's about skill. Intelligence.
Endurance.
ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාව හා දකුණු අප්‍රිකාව අතර
Wills of minds.
Of hearts.
සෙල්ලම ඉස්සල්ලම TV1 තිරපිටියෙන් ජූනි 11 සිට 15 දක්වා.
This is the ultimate test match.
If we don't get growth to 4.5%, 5% instead of the base case of 3%, I'm afraid we will have to restructure our debt again in 3 to 4 years.
Who is responsible for the growth for the year 2024? Is it the Ranil Wickremesinghe administration or is it the Anukumar Dissanayake administration?
There is a 60 billion rupees excess that the consumers has given to CB, which should not have been given.
This whole tariff methodology business has got well politicized, and the public has got themselves in a twist on this.
Long-term generation plan, if they were formulated in a proper way about 20 years back, nowadays we could have absorbed less expensive indigenous resources like solar in large quantity.
Face the Nation every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. on TV1.
Before the ultimate test, join us for a day with the legends.
Will be crowned World Test Champions.
The two captains leading their teams into the World Test Championship final will give their thoughts on this epic clash.
That's a brilliant moment in this ultimate test.
Greats of the game will then become immortalized as 7 new inductees will enter the ICC Hall of Fame.
One of the greatest in cricket history.
Join us on the 10th of June for a day with the legends on TV1 from 9:45 onwards. The People's Platform.
Welcome back. My guest tonight is Danu Innasithamby, and I'd like to read an excerpt from his new book, Jaffna Boy Colombo Diva, Chapter 23, What is Peace? Peace, a word so simple, yet something we are still fighting for. Not just the end of a war, not just a signature on a treaty, but the kind of peace that lets you close your eyes at night without fear, the kind that lets you dream freely, love unconditionally, and live without looking over your shoulder. Both sides, Army and LTTE, they all claimed to fight for a cause. But what kind of cause destroys its own people? What kind of liberation kills the very lives it claims to free? We were pawns in a game we never chose to play. A battlefield became our home, and war became the only language we knew. Danu, speak to us about that journey you and your family took from Jaffna to Colombo.
The element of war, I think, yeah, we see it in movies, we would have heard from stories, but just like me, there are so many thousands of people who lived that war, and everyone has a different experience, the way they have seen it, what happened to them, the lives they have lost. So for us, we knew there was this war because we were in it. We never it's like when it's raining every day, you learn how to live with the umbrella. When it's sunny and it rains on and off is when it's a problem. So it was just like, we just knew the war was on. So we knew that we should not keep the lights burning too loud. That's in terms of the lamps we used to use. We used to dim the lights if we do see any type of helicopters moving. We were that just practice. We knew where to run when there is a noise. But with Dada around, I think we felt safer. when he passed, Mummy knew she had to come to Colombo. And at that time, because Mummy is from Colombo, and that time the war was just ruthless and getting here was very hard. So our journey started on the 1st of June. So it was in 1993, 1st of June, our journey began. So from Kulali we come to Multilingual. That's where we start our journey. And that boat ride is an epic experience, not in a good way. The funniest part of it all, in the midst of the war, in the midst of people literally playing with their life, there was also a caste issue that was holding people. The reason why our boat got stuck with all the other 4 boats that were tied to us is because the person who was the one who was taking this boat forward, he refused to ask for some extra petrol from another person because he was low caste in his opinion. So he was not from the same caste. So that's why we were stranded in the middle of the ocean. And the ocean was rough, it was literally ruthless, and I still remember the waves literally playing seesaw with us. I'll see my sister for a bit, then I won't see her. I'll see them for a bit, I won't see her. It was just absolutely terrible. And we were begging him to take us back to some side. Then he brought us back to the same side again. And the minute we set foot and felt the sand, we heard the ceasefire take off. But that day we were saved because a lot of people who took that journey that day died on the way because the waves are too strong. Something was just off about that day. The next day we did the same thing. I refused to leave because I just didn't want to go through the traumatic experience. And when I got onto that boat, my mum gave me some vinegar and just put me off so that she knew that I could just get myself to the other side. And then it was just matter of survival. We walked through jungles, we walked through these narrow passages, we were getting into a bus at one time, then we were put onto a tractor, and the tractor went on landmine prone areas, and landmines that have gone off as well. And a tractor is just a straight metal box, and when you are seated on it and when there's a big pothole, you literally fly all the way to the sky. And you're trying to hold on to something because there's nothing, so you literally hold on to people. And eventually our journey comes to a point where the LTTE will hand you over to the army, and from there we come to Vavuniya, and then from Vavuniya to Colombo in a train. This journey is easy when you say it like this, but when you have to stay with no food, no water, no facility to go to the washroom, we're talking about 4 to 5 days of absolute agony. And just like how we went through it, we were fortunate enough to have somebody to help us with us. So it was easier, let's say, because we had someone who could also carry an extra bag. But there were so many people, older people, who struggled and took those painful steps to make it out. Although it happened when I was just 7 years old, or going to be 8 that year, I remember every bit of it. The t-shirt I wore, what I was doing, when I got to have this little lemon puff that I got to eat. I remember every bits of it, for the only reason I think it left a permanent scar. And there was something in the air. It was just a scary, unpredictable timeline, and you don't want to miss either your sister or your mom. You don't know what will happen to them, so you just hold tight and you battle through.
Peace building and reconciliation is a cause very close to your heart. As someone who has this massive platform, you see how fractured and challenging transitional justice efforts have been in Sri Lanka. Danu, there's a trust deficit between communities. Countless governments have been unable to bridge this gap. And all the stakeholders are suffering, from communities in the north, in the east, in the south, to Sri Lankans of Tamil and Muslim origin in the diaspora. How do you think we need to resolve, bridge this trust deficit? How can we bridge this intergenerational trauma that has happened as a result of the conflict?
I had all the chances to leave this country. I could have gone out as a refugee. I could have gone saying that we got to the war, we lost everything. There were so many opportunities. Few reasons I wanted to stay back and always felt this country was my home and I'll never leave. There's something about this country. You can even go to any part of the world, but when you know that you're flying back home, there is this sense of relief and a feeling of home, and that is something I don't take for granted. Yes, the war destroyed a good part of my life. We were cornered by a few people saying that we were Tamils. But majority of this country does not think that way. They all want all of us to live happily, peacefully, sharing good memories, putting a good laugh and a joke, and enjoying life. Just like in every space, there's one or two that really spoils it. But I do understand the way the war ended, the amount of people who lost their lives. All of these have scarred so many people, not only in Sri Lanka, but out of this country as well. Peace is a huge process. It has healing, it has to do with a lot of forgiving and also a lot of accepting. And that's the only way you're going to find that peace. But I'm so happy that somebody could dream big. Somebody could see something more. This is actually something that I actually spoke about many years ago. Soon after the war ended, 2 or 3 years later, Shakti TV had a reality show and we had a girl from Jaffna who was taking part. And I thought to myself, if that was me a few years ago, it would have just been a dream. I would have not even seen a studio. But I was so happy that that girl can dream. She can take a bus, come here, enjoy the perks of living in this country. And I thought to myself, that is what I want to embrace. As however much it's dark the past is, the amount of lives that were lost. I know it's very easy to say it, but I just feel like we have to see what the future holds. Celebrate the ones who are living and give everyone the equal opportunity and find peace amongst ourselves to work as one. I've worked with people from all parts of the country and we are so blessed. We have everyone who is ever willing to feed you, ever willing to invite you home and literally force feed you at times. That's because that's who we are. We rather highlight that. And I'm just so sad that we lost so many lives. At the time, we could have used all of those people to grow to a better country. So I want to really think of what tomorrow could be. Mm-hmm. And I am actually one of the lucky ones. There are so many who could have been me if they were not at the wrong place at the wrong time.
In order to envision a better Sri Lanka, we have to engage with all of the peoples, those who have been wronged, those who have been kept out of the consultation tables. We need to bring in these individuals, these groups, these communities. All of the stakeholders need to be at the decision-making tables, right? Because there is so much of bitterness, so much of negativity, and some of it is justified because we can't really understand another person's grief and pain of mind unless we have also gone through it. From a dignity-centered point of view, how do you think we can, Sri Lanka can look towards making transitional justice and this peace building reconciliation process more successful?
Number one, I think we should accept the faults that we have all done. Mm-hmm. Accept the fact that we have lost young, talented lives in this equation, in this transaction. And if we deny or try to overlook it, we annoy and hurt people because that is also someone's child, brother, husband, wife, whoever. I personally feel it's time that we all come together, and while we understand the pain, the hurt, the blood that's in all our hands, we also should understand, as much as this has hurt us and burnt us, we should not let this define who is going to come into this country at one point, our future. I want them to enjoy the best parts of it and be like, you know, my uncles or my dads may have fought, or my mom's era would have fought, but look at us today. We can rewrite it. I really want that, because my mom, they lived that life. Her best friends were Sinhalese, means she never knew that there was this thing where you have to, and her friends are up to date, well, up to date her friends. Like, they have always had the best times. They never understood this language was an issue. They didn't care. And I want it to come to that. I think we can have such a good time. And that's what I want. But I also want the stakeholders to not deny or not undermine the emotional damage, the hurt, the pain, and also the sacrifices that people have done. I just want that to be acknowledged, but at the same time, for us to see for what's tomorrow.
You have this incredible ability, Danu, to put people at ease, and you've done that trilingually. You present programs in English, in Tamil, and in Sinhalese. How has that enriched your experience as a program host?
For me, language was only because I wanted to like speak to people. I love listening to their stories. I would like not say gossip, but just want to live their life by asking them these questions. Like, I've always found it fascinating. Like, you know, sometimes, you know, I've told you this, when I see you reading news, when you handle those big words effortlessly, I'm like, wow. But for me, you know, that it's, all of these are like experiences that I want to, but I get to live it through people who I speak to. So I just wanted to speak Sinhalese because I knew Tamil and English was average at that time, and still I think we learn as we go. But the reason I wanted to speak to everyone, and I didn't want to be limited. I didn't want somebody else to, I wanted to ask all the questions myself, and that was the reason. And I think it's really nice to communicate with everyone, say good morning or hi or kohomada. It's fun, and that's one of the reasons. And for me, doing a show is just having a chat, and I've always liked to talk to people, so it just worked that way, I think.
But at a macro level, if we look at the importance of trilingualism, Danu, most of our issues would be resolved if all of us spoke each other's languages.
Correct. But back in the days, we did that, right? Like, my mom spoke all three. So I think even my aunts and my uncles, they all speak. So I always wonder, where did we go wrong? At some point, we thought we should not. I think we're living in a country where it's such a small country.
The Single Only Act.
Yeah, I just feel like we should all just learn all languages.
Absolutely.
And just speak. I think there's so much, because I'm just saying, if we can do movies with Tamil and Sinhalese in it, we had a timeline.
Yeah.
Recently, you would have seen clips of Malini Fonseca dancing with Sivaji Ganesan, and I'm like, wow, like, why are we going back in time? Everyone was so together. I think that's what, if it's language that could bring that, we should incorporate it.
Absolutely.
And I think we should all just talk in all three.
Danu, we've known each other for about 20 years now, and you've always been in touch with your emotions. But a lot of men in Sri Lanka aren't. How important is it for men to emote, to cry, to express emotion? How can you invite the men to be open with their emotions, to get help when they need help?
I think with this whole stigma attached to it, to the fact that, you know, if I ask help, I don't look so cool. Actually, I feel like you look cooler when you ask help. That it shows that you're vulnerable, you're realistic, and you're relatable. You know, sometimes, like, when it's hard, you need to have somebody who can tell what's bothering you, if it can ease that amount of anxiety that you feel inside, because then you become a better person to the ones around you. Like, where you go to work, otherwise you're edgy, you are just angry, you just don't know where to turn to release that frustration. being a man has been just overrated. Just be a human. I think that's easier that way. I'm not saying it because I'm some person who can really handle everything. We all break. I can be selfish, I can be stubborn, I can be very self-centered at times, but that's what makes us who we are. If you're not selfish, you're not going to see what you need in life at times. So I'm like, yeah, just go ahead, be a human. It's much better than trying to be a man who is just not happy.
People often think that they need to have a massive platform or a massive following to be of impact, but that is not the case, Danu.
No, for the longest time I was just battling with like 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Okay.
I also feel like, I'm just saying, because everything is counted today on how many likes, how many shares. It doesn't make sense. Actually, you can make an impact. I understood the value of it is because I do this project not because of anything. I have had the privilege of meeting some people who could be who have the spending capacity, or the what do you call it, the funds that they can just enjoy their life with is a little bit more. So when there is somebody who has a need, I try to put those cases across. It could be for a laptop, it could be for healthcare, it could be something, and I try and get some disposable income that they would like to share. And sometimes you just need that small dent that becomes a big conversation that will help a life. So sometimes contributing to society could be in any level. You don't need to save the world. You can just save one person and contribute towards the saving of world. We try hard. Not always, it's not easy always, but whenever you can, I think we don't need a big platform. We just need to have a big mindset to understand small things are good enough.
What's the next step?
First of all, I'm really happy that this book it became a book. I would have not done it. It took so long. So thanks to the ones who actually pushed me to do it. Well, I really hope now we all go through this fever. I'm like, oh, I should write more. Every time I try to sit and think of it, I'm just like, no, that's a lot of work. But I think I really enjoyed this. It was different, telling the story through writing, actually, in my opinion, on a phone texting format, because laptop keys don't work for me. But it was an experience because I had to let the person who is reading it interpret how I would have seen it.
Danu, are you happy
in life? Yes, I think I'm grateful. Let's put it that way. If you have asked me 20 years ago, I would have just thought to myself, I'm joking. 25 years ago, it would have just been a dream. It's what we see. But I'm grateful for every bus ride I took, every long walk to save some cash to get into a trishaw eventually, to those hard days at work or late hours of staying up and trying to finish something. I'm so grateful. I've been blessed with a lot of things, and I wish we all get to live what we are meant to do on this earth and enjoy the benefits of it. It's not about, I never wanted mansions and big cars that auto drives itself. I just wanted a car that's convenient. I wanted a house where you can just sleep peacefully, and I think if you have those, you're good.
Thank you for this beautiful conversation, Danu.
Thank you. I'm ever so grateful to the Maharaja team for always supporting me. It's like coming back home most of the time, and at the same time, thank you. You know how special you are to me, and the fact that for taking the time to reading the book as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching us. We'll see you again next week. Good night.